Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into natural solutions for healthier hair, looking at everything from ancient remedies to the modern science that proves they actually work.
So let me just start with a question. What if the secret to amazing hair wasn't in some expensive, fancy bottle, but was already sitting right there in your kitchen?
Because believe it or not, a lot of the most effective treatments for pretty much everything, we're talking oiliness, dryness, even thinning hair, are based on simple, powerful, natural ingredients.
All right, so let's get it into it. First things first, we got to talk about the common challenges we all face in this quest for great hair. You have to understand the problem before you can fix it. And it's not just in your head. Our hair really does change with the weather. It can lead to all those frustrating things like, crazy dryness in the winter, or it gets super oily when it's humid. Some people even experience seasonal thinning.
Now, to really understand the solutions, especially when it comes to hair loss, we need to get into a little bit of science. It's time to meet the main villain behind the whole problem.
So your hair is always in a three-phase cycle. It's growing, then it's kind of transitioning, and then it's resting. And it's during that final resting phase, the telogen phase, that hair naturally sheds. That's also where the cycle can get messed up.
And the thing that does the messing up? It's a hormone called dihydrotestosterone. Let's just call it DHT. It builds up in the hair follicle and is widely considered the main cause of hair loss for pretty much everyone. This slide just shows it perfectly. On the left, you've got a happy, healthy follicle doing its thing. But on the right, you can see how DHT latches onto those receptors. It basically shrinks and suffocates the follicle, and that's what stops that healthy growth in its tracks.
Okay, but here's where it gets really cool. Nature has its own defense system. There are certain herbs that are incredibly effective at fighting this exact process.
So the key takeaway here is that some herbal extracts can act as natural DHT blockers. What that means is they basically get in the way. They compete with the hormone, stopping it from binding to the follicle and doing all that damage.
So let's look at some of the heavy hitters. You've got saw palmetto, which straight up lowers your DHT levels. And then there's nettle root, which is fascinating. It actually stops the very enzyme that makes DHT in the first place. Super clever.
Okay, so that's the science. Now for the really fun part. Let's see how all this translates into real, practical solutions. We're heading out of the lab and straight into your kitchen. First up, a classic, oily hair. You know that feeling, right? Where your hair just looks greasy by 5 p.m., even if you washed it that morning. Well, the solution is surprisingly simple and honestly really refreshing.
Mint. It works because it's a natural astringent. That just means it helps gently cleanse your scalp and tightens up the pores, which helps control all that excess oil. This little rinse is like hitting a reset button for your scalp. Your hair just feels lighter and cleaner for way longer.
All right, what about hair that's just blah?
It's not unhealthy, but it's lost its shine. It kind of soaks up light instead of reflecting it. That's usually a sign of buildup, or that the hair's surface has gotten a little rough. For that, your secret weapon is baking soda. Just a tiny bit mixed in with your shampoo gently strips away all that gunk from products or hard water. But the crucial part is that it helps smooth and seal the hair's cuticle. Think of it like polishing a table. When the surface is smooth, it reflects light, and boom, you get that amazing shine back.
Okay, let's go to the complete opposite problem. Not dullness, but dryness. I'm talking about that brittle, straw-like feeling where your hair is just begging for some moisture and feels like it'd snap. The answer here is honey. I know it sounds sticky, but honey is what's called a humectant. That's a fantastic science word. That just means it's a moisture magnet. It literally pulls moisture out of the air and locks it deep inside your hair. So it's not just coating your hair, it's actively hydrating it from the inside out. All right, what about the volume problem? Your hair feels okay, but it just lays flat. It's limp, lifeless, no body, no bounce. Well, if you need a little lift, you don't need a fancy spray. Your pantry has your back. It's all about rice water. This has been a beauty secret for centuries in a lot of cultures. The proteins in the water coat each strand of hair and kind of beef it up, making it a tiny bit thicker. When you do that to all your hair, you get this amazing natural volume and texture without any of that sticky residue from styling products. And finally, let's circle all the way back to growth. For hair that's thinning or maybe just feels like it's stuck and won't grow past a certain point, there's a really fragrant herb that can help get things moving again. Basil. When you put it in some warm oil and massage it into your scalp, it acts as a stimulant. It helps get the blood circulation going right at the follicle, which delivers more oxygen and nutrients right where they need to go. It's all about creating a super energized, healthy scalp environment for new, strong hair to grow.
So, we've gone through the science, we've raided the kitchen pharmacy. What's the big takeaway from all of this?
The most important thing to remember is that you have these powerful, natural tools right at your fingertips. Whether you're fighting the root cause of thinning with herbs that block DHT, or you're just fixing everyday issues with stuff from your pantry, these solutions are real, they're accessible, and they work. So what this all shows is that nature has this amazing, potent, and honestly, surprisingly simple toolkit for our hair, which really just leaves us with one final thought. Looking at all these options, which natural remedy are you going to try first?